we're going to run through a couple of key differentiators between both Service Desk Express and Remedy-Force, as well as the Footprints products. So this first slide, we're really highlighting some of the key differentiators between Service Desk Express and Remedy-Force here. Note that this is certainly not a comprehensive or complete set of features in terms of comparison, but we tried to identify the key things that SDE customers have been asking for years, or we've just seen is really a deficiency with SDE. So the first being a sandbox capability. So for those customers that have been around the SDE product for quite some time, there's always been a need for the ability to move things that you do in a development environment to a test environment and then move that to a production environment without having to manually replicate things. And so with Remedy-Force, we actually have a feature like that that's called the Sandbox feature, and that allows us to very quickly and easily replicate our production environment, and we can actually have up to two additional sandboxes. So we can have a development environment and then replicate, have an environment, a sandbox environment for testing in QA, and then ultimately production. So in short, the value this type of functionality is going to bring to you is that, one, it should take you less time to deploy modifications that you make to the system because you're not having to manually reproduce those, and at the same time, because you're not having to manually reproduce those modifications, it should increase the quality of the solutions that you provide to your customers. The second differentiator would be request fulfillment. So we heard Serena talk about a shopping cart capability earlier, and that's essentially what we're talking about. This is request fulfillment I really see as a key differentiator from the sense that this allows you as a service provider to identify the services that you provide and put them in an interface that customers can very easily access and request. So at this point, if you're wanting to request, for example, a new iPad, you have a very intuitive UI that customers can go to and make the request, but more importantly, you can capture all the necessary information for that type of request. So the value that this brings is, one, greater transparency that you offer as a service provider, so your customers know what services that you're offering, as well as the accuracy of being able to capture all the necessary information to fulfill this request. If you can imagine, a customer just sending in an email asking for a new iPad, well, there's a number of, things that you really need to know to be able to accurately fulfill that. And this request fulfillment capability certainly addresses that, because now we can ask specifically which model of iPad are you looking for, what color of case do you want, do you need the data plan, and so forth. The second differentiator would be less administration. And this is really just from the inherent infrastructure or the inherent capabilities of a SaaS solution. So with Remedy-Force, you absolutely don't have to worry about that underlying architecture and infrastructure that's required, meaning you don't have to worry about the application servers, the operating systems on those application servers, what version of SQL that you're running, the licensing for SQL, all those types of things. That infrastructure is absolutely provided to you through the Remedy-Force platform. And in addition to that, the application administration, so all of your upgrades, all of your patches and releases, those are all provided as part of your service contract. So at that point, the value that this really brings to you as an organization is a greater return on your investment. It's less infrastructure that's required, and certainly less cost in terms of maintaining and supporting that infrastructure. The next thing we'd cover is ease of reporting. I found the reporting engine in Remedy-Force to be very refreshing. I mean, it's very easy to create custom reports and manipulate the reports that are provided out of the box, all through an intuitive user interface. So the ease of reporting, that's usually when you're talking to any customer, one of the biggest concerns concerns is, how can I get the data out of the system? And with the capabilities that the reporting engine provides with Remedy Force, we see this as a definite differentiator in the sense that, one, you can schedule the report. So I know some of these capabilities are coming out in future releases, but you have the ability to schedule the report, schedule the dashboards to be sent out in an automated fashion. But probably more importantly, you can very easily create reports. You don't have to be necessarily a Crystal expert or a SQL DBA in order to create these types of reports in the product. So again, the value that this is bringing is better management and better management of data, as well as understanding your environment in terms of how you're performing against your KPIs and operational data requirements that you define. So the next feature being the approval engine. This is a component of the Force.com platform that Remedy Force utilizes. So with that, this approval engine allows us to create very complex, very sophisticated approval processes if they are needed. Obviously, very simple processes for approvals can be initiated, but again, I see this as one of the differentiators. And the value that this brings to an organization is any organization that has, auditing requirements of capturing this information and maintaining this information in terms of who's approving the request and things of that nature is certainly, being addressed with this functionality. Another differentiator would be the collaboration. So we heard Serena talk earlier about the chatter capabilities within Remedy Force, and probably the best way to explain this is Facebook for IT. And what that means is that as a member of the IT organization, I can subscribe to instance, problems, changes, or configuration items, and I can follow any updates to those records. So this is beyond any type of normal email notifications that you might want to receive. But in addition to just subscribing to these items, at the end of the day, you can have emails sent to you giving you a comprehensive list of all updates related to these items. So in a real-world scenario where I see this being extremely useful is in the realm of change management, configuration management. If you're a configuration administrator responsible for servicing 5 or 10 different servers or a group of servers, any updates that are made to those servers in terms of the records in the configuration management database or any problems that may have been identified and registered in the system, any changes that may have been identified and registered in the system, you're aware of that. So again, the collaboration functionality of Chatter is really bringing that social aspect to IT. So again, the value there is that we have additional methods of communication and your staff being up to date as to what's going on in the environment. Okay? So again, this is not by no means a comprehensive list of differentiators, but again, some of those key differentiators that we have identified and other customers have identified at this point. So Matt, let's move on to differentiators for footprints. So here, Workspaces, and Erin has already spoke to this to some degree, but Workspaces are essentially a subset of the system that allows us to have different fields, forms, in specific settings to support the functionality that or the group that we might be supporting. One of the things I can say about the Workspaces is that Footprints has done a very good job of providing templates for these different workspaces. So as an example, if you are providing internal IT support, you have a whole list of templates that you can use for incident management, problem and change management that you'll use to support those types of processes. But in addition to that, your organization may also be providing external support, or she gave the example of HR support. And so there are workspace templates for these types of scenarios. So again, very easily, very quickly, you can deploy the use of footprints across multiple departments with your organization. So again, the value is that you're getting true cross-departmental support and with a single system. So as you mentioned, you can actually alleviate the need for multiple applications with the use of footprints and the workspace capabilities. Another key differentiator, again, is that request fulfillment. So we spoke to that earlier with RemedyForce, and again, I stress this because I really see organizations moving in the direction of having an actionable service catalog where customers can go to a website, they can see the services that you offer, and with that, make requests against that list of services. So again, this is yet also provided with footprints, and again, something that Service Desk Express really struggled with when we talked, with the capabilities that we have with Service Desk Express. So again, very much a differentiator. The other component being the configuration management or asset management aspect of Footprint. So this is really the asset core that Footprint offers, and it is tightly integrated with the service force or your traditional incident management, change management capabilities. But right from within an incident, you can remote into the machine and using that tightly integrated asset core. So again, things that the asset core provides would be your discovery, remote control, patch management. Those are all things that we've talked to many Service Desk Express customers about, and typically is fulfilled with integration to existing systems that they've had, or purchasing of other applications. And so again, this tight integration between the service and asset core provides a wealth of functionality that I think most Service Desk Express customers can and will be able to appreciate. Resource management. In resource management, there's really two things that we see here that attributed to this being a differentiator. One of which is the ability to assign records without complex business rules or many customizations, so automated routing that you can very easily define within footprints. The other component is the availability of your staff. Knowing if you're going to assign them an incident, you can, right on the fly, you can see exactly what type of assignments that they have, and if they're available during those times, and schedule support to be conducted with, on-site with customers, things of that nature. So resource management, again, being a feature that Footprints offers that you certainly, in various ways might be able to do with Service Desk Express, but it certainly wasn't out-of-the-box functionality. So in short, the value that this brings to an organization is really a more efficient support process, with the automation that it brings and the ability to see what your staff are scheduled for. And so that's again, another differentiator. The fifth thing that we identified for Footprints would be the chat capabilities. Over the last few years, we've seen more and more requests for chat capabilities within Service Desk Express. This, again, is something that Footprints offers right out of the box. So your customers can go to the self-service portal, and certainly they can search the knowledge base. They can even register incidents, but they might even want to just chat with a technician right then and there. And so certainly this capability is provided with Footprints.